Terminus Deep floated at the edge of everything. The massive station orbited a dying star that glowed dull red like a fading ember. Ships came here from every corner of known space. Some came to trade. Others came to hide. Most came because they had nowhere else to go. The lower decks smelled like fuel, sweat, and a dozen different alien atmospheres mixing together. Neon signs flickered in languages Jiwoo Han couldn't read. She walked her patrol route with her hand resting near her weapon. Not threatening, just ready. She was human. That meant most aliens on the station barely noticed her. Just another mammalian species. 2 arms, 2 legs, forward-facing eyes, boring, unremarkable. That was fine with Jiwoo. Being unremarkable kept you alive in places like this. Her boots clanked on metal grating as she turned down a side corridor. Ahead, she spotted Kale leaning against his shop entrance. The Voss trader was tall and reptilian, with scales that shifted from green to blue depending on his mood. Right now, they looked greenish-gray. Worried. "You look terrible," Jiwoo said. "The market is strange today," Kale replied. His tongue flicked out, tasting the air. Everyone is buying emergency supplies. Fuel cells. Ration packs. Medical supplies. The prices have doubled. Jiwoo frowned. Could be nothing. Maybe someone started a rumor. Maybe. Kale didn't sound convinced. But the smugglers are leaving. 3 of the big syndicates have already packed up. When criminals run from something, I get nervous. She nodded slowly. Kale had good instincts. He'd survived in this business for 20 years. That meant something. "I'll ask around," she said. "See what I can find out." She spent the next 2 hours talking to her contacts. A Corvin bartender who heard everything. A Thalian dockworker who saw every ship that came and went. A human mechanic named Daehyun, who fixed ships for people who didn't ask questions. They all told her the same thing. Ships were disappearing near the Shroud Nebula, not being destroyed. Just vanishing, gone without a trace, and something else. The old-timers, the ones who'd been in space for half a century, they were talking about legends. Stories from before the great civilizations. Stories about things that slept in the dark between stars. Jiwoo didn't believe in legends. She believed in facts, sensor readings, evidence. But she also believed in pattern recognition. And the pattern here said something bad was coming. She was heading back to file a report when the alarm started. The sound cut through every level of the station. A deep pulsing wail that meant one thing, danger. Immediate and severe danger. Jiwoo started running. Not toward safety, toward the command center. That's where she'd find answers. The corridors filled with aliens moving in every direction. Some headed for the docks. Others stood frozen, looking at screens and displays. She pushed through the crowd, using her smaller size to slip between the larger species. She reached the command center in 5 minutes. The doors were open. Inside, officers from a dozen species clustered around holographic displays. She recognized Commander Thelron, an Etherian with silver skin and too many arms. He was staring at the main display like he'd seen a ghost. "What's happening?" Jiwoo asked. An officer turned to tell her to leave, but Thelron waved him off. "Look," he said simply, pointing at the display. The image showed long-range sensor data. Something was coming out of the Shroud Nebula. Something massive. The computer kept trying to calculate its size and failing. The numbers didn't make sense. Nothing could be that big. "What is it?" Jiwoo asked. "We don't know," Thelron said quietly. "But it's headed straight for us. It will reach the station in 6 hours." Jiwoo studied the data. The object was moving slowly but steadily, and it was giving off strange readings. Energy signatures that looked biological. Heat patterns that suggested life. Could it be a ship? Someone asked. "No ship has that energy signature," another officer replied. Then the communications officer made a sound. Not a word, just a sound of pure terror. "It's transmitting," she whispered. "Put it on speakers," Thelron ordered. That was a mistake. The sound hit the station like a physical wave. It wasn't just audio. It was something deeper, something that bypassed the ears and went straight to the brain. The part of the brain that remembered being prey, that remembered when things with teeth and claws hunted your ancestors in the dark. Every alien in the command center collapsed. Some fell to their knees. Others curled into balls. A few started making sounds that might have been prayers in their native languages. Jiwoo felt it too. A pressure in her skull. An urge to run, to hide, to do anything except stand here. Her hands shook. Her heart pounded. Every instinct screamed at her to flee, but she didn't. She stood there, breathing hard, while her brain processed the fear response and filed it away. Just another threat. Just another problem to solve. She looked around the command center. Everyone was down. Every single person except her. "Commander," she said. Thelron didn't respond. His eyes were wide and unfocused. She grabbed his shoulder and shook him. "Commander!" He blinked slowly, looked at her. "How are you standing?" he whispered. "Because something roared at me and I'm not impressed," she said. "Now get up. We have work to do." Outside the command center, the entire station descended into chaos. The roar had affected everyone. Thousands of aliens stampeded toward the docking bays. They trampled each other in their panic to escape. Fights broke out over access to ships. Ji-Woo activated her communication device. "All security personnel, this is Corporal Han. Report to your stations. We need to organize an evacuation." Silence answered her. Then slowly responses came in. Human voices. "Only human voices. Minho here. I'm at Docking Bay 3. It's a disaster. Jisoo checking in. Bay 5. Same situation. This is Hana Lim. I'm a pilot, not security. But I'm at Bay 7 if you need help. Taeyang Cho. Engineering. I'm the only one still at my post." Ji-Woo closed her eyes for a moment. 5 humans. 5 humans out of a station population of 10,000. That's all who could still function. "All right," she said into her communicator. "Listen up. We're going to save as many lives as we can. Minho, Jisoo, control the docking bays. Don't let anyone launch until their ship is properly loaded. Hana, coordinate with them on departure schedules. Taeyang, I need you to keep the station running. Power, life support, everything." "Can you do that?" "Yes," came the responses, one word. No hesitation. "Good, I'm going to try to get command functioning again. We have 6 hours until that thing arrives. Let's make them count." She turned back to Thelron. The Etherian commander was slowly regaining his composure. Around the room, other officers were starting to move again. The initial terror was fading, being replaced by a different kind of fear. The rational kind. "The kind you could work with, Commander," Ji-Woo said. "I need you to focus." "Can you do that?" Thelron looked at her. Really looked at her. This small human who was somehow still standing when his entire command staff had collapsed. "Yes," he said finally. "What do we do?" Ji-Woo allowed herself a small smile. Then she cracked her neck. Left side, then right. The sound was sharp in the quiet room. "We do what humans always do," she said. "We fight back." The command center slowly came back to life. Officers returned to their stations with shaking hands. They tried to look professional, but Ji-Woo could see the terror still lingering in their eyes. Whatever had made that sound, it had touched something primal in every species on the station, except humans. Thelron pulled himself up to his full height. His silver skin had gone pale, but his voice was steady. "Status report. All departments, the reports came in. They were bad. Half the station's population was already trying to leave. The docking bays were overwhelmed. 3 ships had launched without clearance and nearly collided. 2 cargo vessels had been hijacked at gunpoint. The security force was barely functioning. "What about our defenses?" Thelron asked. The weapons officer, a thick-bodied Corvin, checked his displays. "All systems are operational. 24 plasma batteries. 16 missile tubes. Point defense grid is active." "Good," Thelron said. "We'll make a stand here." Ji-Woo stepped forward. "Commander, with respect, those weapons won't be enough." Every head in the room turned toward her. A few officers looked offended. Who was this human corporal to question the commander? Thelron didn't look offended. He looked curious. "Explain." "Look at the sensor data," Ji-Woo said, pointing at the main display. "That thing is the size of a small moon. Our plasma batteries are designed to stop pirate raiders and smuggler ships. Even our biggest missiles are meant for ship-to-ship combat. This isn't a ship." "This is something else. What do you suggest?" Thelron asked. Ji-Woo studied the displays. She wasn't a tactical genius. She was a security guard. But she'd grown up watching old Earth military history documentaries. Sometimes the only way to stop something big was with something bigger. "The station's fusion reactor," she said. "How big of an explosion would it make if we overloaded it?" The room went silent. The engineering officer, a Thalian with blue crystalline skin, looked horrified. "You can't be serious. Overloading a reactor that size would destroy everything within 10,000 kilometers. "Exactly," Ji-Woo said. "We evacuate everyone we can. Lure that thing in close. Then we turn the entire station into a bomb. Thelron stared at her. That's insane. Yes, Jiwoo agreed. But it might work. What's your better idea? The commander had no answer. Nobody did. They all knew the truth. Their weapons wouldn't stop what was coming. Running might not work either. That thing had crossed light years to get here. It could probably outrun most of their ships. I need to think, Thelron said. Continue the evacuation. Prioritize civilians and non-essential personnel. Military and security will be last to leave. Jiwoo nodded and left the command center. She had work to do. Docking Bay 3 was chaos. Hundreds of aliens pushed and shoved toward the loading ramps. Minho stood at the entrance to a transport ship trying to maintain order. He was a big man, even for a human, but against the crush of panicked aliens he looked small. Jiwoo activated crowd control barriers. Hard light walls sprang up, dividing the crowd into orderly lines. It helped a little. Thanks, Minho said when she reached him. It's been crazy. Everyone wants off right now. How many ships have we loaded so far? 12. But we've got maybe 100 more to go. At this rate, we won't get everyone off in time. Jiwoo checked her communicator. 5 hours until the creature arrived. She did the math. They'd save maybe half the station population. The other half would die here, unless her crazy plan worked. Keep loading, she told Minho. Get as many out as you can. She moved through the docking bays, coordinating with Jisoo and Hana. The pilot had organized a departure schedule that maximized efficiency. Ships were launching every 3 minutes. It still wasn't fast enough. Between bays, Jiwoo found Kale. The Voss trader was loading equipment into a small cargo shuttle. His scales had turned dark blue. Fear colors. You're leaving, Jiwoo said. Yes, my ship is ready. I have room for 3 more passengers. He paused. You should come with me. Can't, I have a job to do. Kale's tongue flicked out nervously. Jiwoo, whatever is coming, it's not natural. It's not something you can fight. Even humans can't fight that. Maybe not, she said. But we can try. Why? Kale asked. This isn't your station. These aren't your people. Why would you die for them? Jiwoo thought about that. It was a good question. She'd only been on Terminus Deep for 6 months. Most of the aliens here barely acknowledged her existence. She owed them nothing. Because someone has to, she said finally. And I'm still standing. Kale looked at her for a long moment. Then he reached into his shuttle and pulled out a weapon, a plasma rifle, military grade, worth more than Jiwoo made in a year. Take it, he said. If you're going to do something stupid, at least be armed. She took the rifle. Thanks, Kale. Don't thank me, survive, then come find me. I'll be in the Astra system. You can buy me a drink. Deal. She watched his shuttle lift off and disappear into the darkness of space. Then she went back to work. 4 hours until impact. Jiwoo called a meeting in a small maintenance room. Minho, Jisoo, Hana, and Taeyang gathered around a holographic display. 5 humans in a station of thousands. Command is planning to fight that thing with our standard weapons, Jiwoo said. It won't work. No kidding, Jisoo said. She was smaller than Jiwoo, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. I pulled up the tactical analysis. That creature has armor plating thicker than our hull. Our plasma batteries might scratch it. So what's the real plan? Hana asked. Jiwoo explained her idea. Turn the fusion reactor into a bomb. Evacuate everyone possible. Blow the station with the creature close enough to catch it in the blast. That's suicide, Taeyang said quietly. He was young for an engineer, barely 25, but brilliant. Someone would have to stay behind to trigger the overload manually. The reactor safeties can't be overridden remotely. I know, Jiwoo said. Silence filled the room. I'll do it, Taeyang said. No, Jiwoo started. Yes, I'm the engineer. I know the reactor better than anyone. If this is going to work, I'm the one who stays. Jiwoo looked at him, saw the fear in his eyes, saw the determination that was stronger than the fear. Okay, she said, but we get everyone else off first. Everyone who can be saved, we save them. And who saves us? Minho asked. Jiwoo smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. We save ourselves. Or we die trying. Either way, we make that thing pay for coming here. 3 hours until impact. Thelron called Jiwoo back to the command center. The Etherian commander looked older than before. Tired. I've reviewed your plan, he said. It's the only option we have. I've ordered all military personnel to evacuate. My ship will be the last to leave. Good, Jiwoo said. I'm also ordering you and your team to evacuate. You've done enough. No. Thelron's eyes widened. Corporal, that wasn't a request. It was an order. With respect, Commander, I don't work for you. I work for station security, and station security doesn't abandon their post. They stared at each other. Then Thelron laughed. It was a bitter sound. You humans, you're all insane. Probably, Jiwoo agreed. But we're the insane ones still standing when gods make monsters run. 2 hours until impact. The last civilian transports launched. Then the military vessels. The station grew quieter. Emptier. In the command center, Thelron prepared to leave. The reactor is ready. Taeyang's voice came through the communicator. I'm in position. Just give the word. On the main display, the creature grew closer. The sensors finally managed to capture a clear image. It was worse than Jiwoo had imagined. Part ship, part something organic, covered in what looked like weapons or maybe teeth. She couldn't tell which. One more thing, Thelron said to Jiwoo. There's an emergency bunker on level 40. It's designed to survive station destruction. Get your team there before the reactor blows. Will it work? Jiwoo asked. Honestly, I don't know. But it's a chance. Thelron's ship launched. Jiwoo watched it go. Then she looked at the approaching creature. All right, she said into her communicator. Everyone to the bunker. Double time. The creature was close now. Close enough that she could see it moving, writhing, alive. She rolled her shoulders, cracked her neck. Come on then, she whispered. Let's see what you've got. The station felt wrong when it was empty. Jiwoo's footsteps echoed through corridors that should have been full of life. The lights flickered. The air recyclers hummed louder without thousands of voices to drown them out. She reached docking bay 7, where Hana was making final checks on her ship. The cargo hauler was old, scarred with years of hard use. Its name, painted in faded letters on the hull, read, Songbird. You're sure about this? Jiwoo asked. Hana looked up from her pre-flight checklist. No, but I'm doing it anyway. She gestured at her ship. The Songbird isn't fast. Can't outrun that thing, so I might as well be useful. The plan is to broadcast signals that will attract its attention. Draw it close to the station. You'll be flying directly toward it. I know what the plan is. Hana climbed into her cockpit. I helped make it, remember? Jiwoo smiled. Just wanted to make sure. What about you? How are you getting off this station? Emergency bunker on level 40. It's supposed to survive the blast. Supposed to, Hana repeated. That's reassuring. Best we've got. Hana powered up her ship. The engines thrummed to life. See you on the other side, Jiwoo. See you there. The Songbird lifted off and disappeared through the bay doors. Jiwoo watched it go, then headed for the bunker. 1 hour until impact, level 40 was deep in the station's core. Jiwoo found Minho and Jisoo already there. The bunker looked like a massive metal egg, 20 meters across, covered in armor plating and heat shielding. A single door stood open. Taeyang checked in 5 minutes ago, Minho said. He's at the reactor. Everything's ready. Jiwoo activated her communicator. Taeyang, status? I'm good, came the reply. His voice was steady. Reactor is primed. Safety systems are disabled. When I hit the switch, we'll have 90 seconds before critical mass. That's enough time to get out? Should be. There's an access tunnel that leads close to your bunker. I'll run fast. You better. On the main display inside the bunker, Jiwoo watched multiple feeds. One showed the approaching creature. Another showed Hana's ship. A third showed the station's exterior. The creature was close now. Close enough to see details. Its surface wasn't solid. It rippled and moved like skin over muscle. Weapons emerged from its body like growing things. Organic and wrong. Hana's voice came through the communicator. Beginning my run. Activating broadcast signals now. The Songbird accelerated toward the creature. Hana was transmitting on every frequency. Radio. Subspace. Even old-fashioned electromagnetic signals. Anything to grab attention. It worked. The creature's movement changed. It oriented toward the small ship. Some of its weapons tracked Hana's course. It sees me, Hana said. She sounded calm, too calm. Coming around for another pass. She flew the Songbird in a wide arc, always staying just ahead of the creature's weapons. Leading it. Pulling it closer to the station. You're doing great, Jiwoo said. Keep it coming. The creature followed. It was slow compared to a normal ship, but it was accelerating, and it was massive. Its gravitational field was already affecting the station. Loose objects started sliding toward it. 30 minutes until optimal detonation distance, Taeyang announced. Jiwoo checked the readouts. The creature would be close enough. The explosion would catch it, probably. The math said probably. Hana made another pass. This time the creature fired. A weapon that looked like a biological cannon spat something at the songbird. Not a missile. Something alive. It moved through space like a hunting animal. Hana jinked hard, thrusters firing at maximum. The thing missed by meters. That was close, she said. Her voice shook slightly now. 20 minutes, Taeyang said. The creature was so close now that it filled the entire display. Its skin pulsed. Things moved beneath the surface. It opened what might have been a mouth. A gravitational maw that could swallow a ship whole. Hana flew straight toward it. What are you doing? Jiwoo shouted. Getting its attention, Hana replied. The songbird dove toward the mouth. At the last possible second, Hana fired all thrusters and pulled up. The ship screamed past the creature's teeth, so close that the hull scraped against something. The creature lunged, tried to catch the escaping ship. Instead, it positioned itself right next to Terminus Deep, exactly where they needed it. 10 minutes, Taeyang said. Hana, get clear, now. On it. The songbird accelerated away, engines redlining. Jiwoo watched the creature settle into position. It was focused on Hana's ship now, tracking it, preparing to fire again. It didn't care about the station anymore, just the prey that had annoyed it. 5 minutes, Taeyang said. Everyone in the bunker? Affirmative, Jiwoo confirmed. Shi Minho and Jisoo were strapped into acceleration couches. The bunker door was sealed. Good, I'm triggering the overload. See you soon. Through the monitors, Jiwoo watched the reactor readings spike. Temperature rising. Pressure building. Point of no return passed. 90 seconds, Taeyang said. I'm moving. The countdown began. Jiwoo watched the numbers fall. 80 seconds, 70, 60, Taeyang, status? She called. Almost there. 50 meters from the bunker entrance, 50 seconds. The station began to shake. The reactor was fighting to contain forces that couldn't be contained. Bulkheads groaned. Support beams screamed. 40 seconds. 30 meters. Taeyang panted. He was running. She could hear his breathing. 30 seconds, 20 meters. I can see the bunker. 20 seconds, something exploded somewhere in the station. A pressure seal failing. The shaking got worse. 10 meters. 10 seconds, I'm here. Opening the door. The bunker door hissed open. Taeyang practically fell inside. Minho grabbed him and strapped him into a couch. The door sealed. 5 seconds. Brace! Jiwoo shouted. The reactor exploded. For a moment, Terminus Deep became a star. The fusion core released all its energy at once. Metal vaporized. Atmosphere ignited. The entire station ceased to exist in a sphere of nuclear fire. The creature was caught in the middle of it. The bunker was picked up and thrown like a toy. Inside, the humans endured forces that would have killed most species. The acceleration couches absorbed some of it. Their bodies absorbed the rest. Bones bent. Muscles tore. Blood vessels burst, but they lived. The bunker tumbled through space, trailing debris. Inside, Jiwoo couldn't see, couldn't hear, couldn't think. Just held on and waited for it to stop. It stopped. She gasped for air. Her chest hurt. Everything hurt. Next to her, Minho groaned. Jisoo was silent but breathing. Taeyang was conscious, checking the bunker systems with shaking hands. Life support is failing, he said. We've got maybe an hour of air. Heat shielding is compromised. If we get too close to anything hot, we'll cook. What about the creature? Jiwoo asked. Taeyang brought up the external cameras. The view was distorted, the lenses damaged. But they could see. The creature was still there. A quarter of its body was gone, burned away by the explosion. Its insides were exposed. Things that might have been organs pulsed weakly. It was wounded. Badly wounded, but not dead. As they watched, it moved slowly, painfully. It turned, searching for what had hurt it. Its remaining weapons tracked across the debris field, looking for them. It knows, Jisoo whispered. It knows we did this. The creature roared again. Not the same psychic scream as before. This was different. Pain and rage mixed together. The sound of something ancient and powerful that had been hurt for the first time in millennia. It wanted revenge. The creature's attention fixed on their bunker. The tiny sphere of metal that held the beings who had dared to wound it. We heard it, Minho said. He started to laugh. We actually heard it. Yeah, Jiwoo said. And now it's going to kill us. The bunker had minimal weapons. A few emergency tools, No way to outrun a cosmic horror, even a wounded one. They'd survived the explosion. They'd accomplished their mission. They'd hurt something that legends said couldn't be hurt, but they were going to die anyway. Jiwoo looked at her team. Taeyang, barely out of school, who'd stayed behind to push a button. Minho and Jisoo, who'd held the lines when everyone else ran. Hana, somewhere out there in her cargo ship, who'd flown directly at a monster. It was a good plan, she said. Best we had, Taeyang agreed. They watched the creature approach. Slow, determined, angry. Then Jisoo sat up straight. Wait, check the long-range sensors. Taeyang pulled up the data. What am I looking for? Ships, lots of ships. Coming back. On the display, dozens of energy signatures appeared. The evacuation fleet. Returning to help, Jiwoo activated her communicator.
Any ship receiving this, stay back.
The creature is still alive. I repeat, stay back, Thelron's voice replied. Corporal Han, we see your position. Hold on. We're coming to get you. Negative, Commander. You can't fight this thing. We're not here to fight it. We're here to save you. It's too dangerous, and Corporal, Thelron interrupted. You stood your ground when we all ran. You stayed and hurt that thing. Now it's our turn to stand. Jiwoo felt something strange in her chest. Not pain, something else. All ships, Thelron broadcast. Form up, target that creature. Fire everything you have. Keep it busy until we can recover our people. Dozens of ships opened fire. Plasma bolts, missiles, energy beams, all focused on the wounded creature. It was still suicide. The creature was wounded, but it was still massive. Still powerful. Those weapons would barely scratch it, but they were trying anyway. Idiots, Jiwoo said softly. She was smiling. Yeah, Minho agreed. But there are idiots. The evacuation fleet spread out across space. Transport ships, cargo haulers, even personal shuttles. None of them were warships. None of them had weapons meant for this kind of fight. But they came anyway. Thelron's command ship led the formation. His voice carried across all frequencies. Target the exposed areas. Where the explosion damaged it, hit it there. Plasma bolts stitched across the creature's wounded sections. Missiles detonated against its exposed internals. The creature shuddered. It turned its attention away from the bunker toward this new threat. It's working, Taeyang said, watching the displays. They're distracting it. They're going to get killed, Jisoo said. She was right. The creature's weapons began tracking targets. The biological cannons fired. One transport ship exploded when something alive burrowed into its hull and detonated. Another ship simply disappeared, pulled into the creature's gravitational field and crushed. But more ships came. They kept firing, kept attacking, buying time. A small, fast courier ship broke from the formation and burned toward the bunker. Jiwoo recognized the energy signature. Kale's ship, you idiot, she said. You were supposed to run. Kale's voice crackled over the communicator. I got halfway to the Astra system. Then I heard what happened. Turned around. His ship pulled alongside the bunker. A docking tube extended. Come on. I've got room for 4 more passengers now. The door on this bunker doesn't have external docking capability, Taeyang said. I know. You'll have to cut through from inside. I'm attaching cutting equipment to the tube now. They worked fast. Minho and Jisoo used the cutting torch to slice through the bunker's outer door. The metal peeled back. Air rushed out into space until Kale's tube created a seal. One by one, they pulled themselves through. Jiwoo went last. As she entered Kale's ship, she took one final look at the bunker. It had saved their lives. Now it was just floating scrap. Everyone's aboard, she told Kale. Go. The ship accelerated away from the battle. On the displays, Jiwoo watched the fight continue. The creature was firing more frequently now. More ships were dying. But they kept coming, kept fighting. Why are they doing this? Taeyang asked quietly. Most of them don't even know us. They ran before, Jisoo said. Maybe they want to prove they can stand too. Or maybe Jiwoo thought they'd seen humans stand when everyone else fell. And they wanted to be worthy of that. The creature roared again. This time it sounded different, weaker. The explosion had done more damage than Jiwoo had hoped. Its movements were slower. Its weapons fired less accurately. It was dying. But it would take a long time to die, and it would kill dozens more ships before it stopped. We need to finish it, Jiwoo said. How? Kale asked. We're in a cargo ship. I've got 1 plasma cutter and a lot of hope. That's not enough to kill something like that. Jiwoo studied the tactical display. The creature's wounds were extensive. Its internal organs were exposed. If they could get inside, hit something critical, maybe they could end this. Kale, can your ship carry the bunker? What? Your ship has cargo clamps. Can you grab the bunker and carry it? Kale's scales shifted to orange. Confusion colors. Yes, but why would... He stopped. Understood. You want to use it as a battering ram. Not a ram. A bomb. The bunker still has emergency power cells. Full charge. If we detonate them inside the creature's wounds, it might be enough to finish it. Might, Kyle repeated. Best we've got. Silence filled the ship. Then Hana's voice came over the communicator. I'm still here, you know. The Songbird can carry that bunker better than Kale's ship. My cargo clamps are bigger. Hana, Jiwoo started. Don't. I already flew at that thing once. I can do it again. Besides, you all barely survived the first explosion. You're in no shape for another suicide run. She was right. Jiwoo's entire body hurt. Minho was holding his ribs like they were broken. Jisoo's left arm hung at a wrong angle. Taeyang had blood dripping from his nose. They were alive, but barely. You'll need someone to place the charges, Taeyang said. I can walk you through it remotely, but... I've done engineering work, Hana interrupted. Simple stuff, but I know my way around power cells. Just tell me where to put them. Hana, Jiwoo said. There won't be time to get clear. I know, you'll die. I know that too. Jiwoo closed her eyes. They'd all been ready to die on the station, but somehow being saved had made the idea of dying again harder to accept. There has to be another way, she said. If there is, I can't see it. That thing is killing people right now. Every second we wait, more ships die. Hana's voice softened. Jiwoo, you stood your ground when everyone ran. You showed us what courage looks like. Now let me stand too. Thelron's voice cut in. All ships pull back. Repeat, pull back. That thing is preparing something big. On the displays, the creature's body pulsed. Energy built up inside its wounds. Some kind of weapon. One massive discharge that would destroy everything nearby. They were out of time. Do it, Jiwoo said. The words felt like glass in her throat. Copy that, Hana replied. Kale, I'm transmitting coordinates. Bring the bunker to my ship. They worked quickly. Kale's ship returned to the bunker. His cargo clamps locked on. He towed it to where the Songbird waited. Hana's bigger clamps took over, locking the armored sphere to her ship's underside. Taeyang talked Hana through rigging the power cells.
Connect the main cell to the secondary backup.
Create a feedback loop. When it reaches critical mass, you'll have about 20 seconds. Not much time, Hana said. No, it's not. The Songbird turned toward the creature. Hana pushed her engines to maximum. The old cargo ship accelerated. Not fast, never fast, but steady, determined. The evacuation fleet scattered, clearing a path. The creature noticed. Its attention fixed on the approaching ship. Weapons tracked Hana's course. It sees me, Hana said. Here we go again. The biological cannons fired. Hana jinked left, then right. One shot missed. Another grazed her shields, dropping them to 50%. Still coming, she announced. More weapons fired. The Songbird shook. Alarms blared in the background of Hana's transmission. Hull breach warnings. Engine damage. Shield failure. But she kept flying. The creature opened its mouth. That gravitational maw, trying to pull the ship in. Hana fought the pull. Her engines screamed. For a moment it looked like she might lose. The Songbird began sliding backward toward the teeth. Then she cut the engines entirely. The ship lurched forward, suddenly free from resistance. It shot straight into the creature's wound, through the exposed organs, deep into the thing's body. I'm in, Hana said. Setting the charges now. Her camera feed showed nightmare landscapes. Pulsing tissue, things that looked like mechanical parts grown from flesh, tubes carrying fluids that glowed with strange light. There's something here, Hana said. Her voice was quiet, awed. It's not a ship. It's not an animal. It's something else. Something old. I can feel it in my head, whispering. Hana, focus, Taeyang said urgently. The charges. Right, sorry. Movement on the camera. Hana working. Connecting the main cell now. Creating the feedback loop. It's building. Good. How long until critical? 15 seconds. No, wait, 10. It's accelerating faster than you said. Get out. Taeyang shouted. Get back to your ship. I'm trying. But there's tissue growing, blocking the path. It knows what I'm doing. On Jiwoo's display, she watched the creature's body convulse. It was trying to expel the intruder. trying to crush the ship inside it. Cut through it, Jiwoo said. Use your plasma cutter. I am, but there's too much. I can't. Hana's voice changed. Became calm. It's okay. I'm not going to make it anyway. 5 seconds. Hana, it was an honor, Corporal Han. Tell them a human did this. The transmission cut off. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the creature convulsed, a shudder that ran through its entire body. Light blazed from its wounds. Not normal light. Something brighter, hotter. The explosion inside the creature was catastrophic. Chain reactions cascaded through its organs. Systems failed. Whatever kept it alive, whatever ancient power drove it, shattered. The creature's body tore itself apart from the inside. Its final roar echoed across space. Not anger this time. Not pain, something else. Surprise, maybe. That something so small could hurt something so vast. Then it went silent. The massive body drifted dark and dead. No more movement. No more pulsing tissue. Just a corpse. A monument to its own arrogance. The evacuation fleet held position, waiting. Making sure it was really over. Is it dead? Someone asked over the open channel. Thelron's ship moved closer. Sensors swept across the creature. Confirmed. No life signs. It's dead. Cheering erupted across every frequency. Dozens of species celebrating together. They'd survived. Against all odds, they'd survived. Jiwoo didn't cheer. She stared at the spot where Hana's ship had disappeared into the creature. She saved us all, Kale said quietly. Yeah, Jiwoo said. She did. Minho stood despite his broken ribs. Jisoo straightened despite her injured arm. Taeyang wiped the blood from his face. They stood together in silence. A moment of respect for the pilot who'd flown toward a monster twice and never looked back. We should go, Kyle said finally. There's a station in the Astra system. They'll take refugees. No, Jiwoo said. Everyone looked at her. We rebuild, she said. Right here. Terminus Deep. We rebuild it bigger, stronger, and we put a memorial at its center, for Hana Lim, for everyone who stood when they could have run. Thelron's voice came over the communicator. Agreed, I'll contact the Galactic Council. We'll get the resources we need. He paused. Corporal Han, on behalf of everyone here, thank you. You and your people saved us all. Jiwoo looked at her team. The humans who'd stood their ground, who'd fought when fighting seemed impossible. We're humans, she said simply. It's what we do. 3 months later, the new Terminus Deep began to take shape. Construction drones worked around the clock, assembling the station's skeleton. It was bigger than before. The Galactic Council had approved triple the original budget. Everyone wanted a piece of the station where humans had killed a god. Jiwoo walked through the completed sections, checking progress. Her arm was still in a brace from the explosion injuries. The doctor said it would heal. Everything would heal, given time. Kale walked beside her, his scales bright green. Happy colors. The memorial is ready, he said. They want you to see it before the dedication ceremony. They took a transport to the station's center. Where the old Terminus Deep had housed a trading bazaar, the new station had something different. A vast open space, a park with real trees grown in hydroponic tanks, real grass under artificial sunlight. In the center stood a statue. Hana Lim stood 20 feet tall, carved from dark stone. She wore her pilot's jacket. Her hand rested on a ship's throttle. Her face looked forward, toward something only she could see. Around the statue's base, names were carved. Jisoo Kim, the security specialist who'd held the line. 57 others who'd died when their ships were destroyed by the creature. People from a dozen different species who'd come back to fight. It's perfect, Jiwoo said softly. The council is sending representatives for the ceremony, Kale said. Leaders from every major civilization. They want to honor the heroes of Terminus Deep. We're not heroes. We just did what needed doing. Kale's tongue flicked out, amused. You humans, you kill a creature from legend and call it ordinary. Do you know what the rest of the galaxy is saying about you? Probably that we're crazy. That too. But also that you're dangerous. That when humans decide something needs to die, it dies. That fear doesn't control you the way it controls everyone else. Jiwoo thought about that, about standing in the command center while everyone collapsed, about the pressure in her skull, the urge to run. She'd felt the fear. She just hadn't obeyed it. Fear is useful, she said. It keeps you alive. But you can't let it make all your decisions. Sometimes you have to be afraid and do the thing anyway. Most species can't do that. Maybe they just haven't tried hard enough. Kyle laughed. Only a human would say that. The dedication ceremony happened a week later. The station was full again. Not just with refugees returning home, but with visitors, tourists, reporters, people who wanted to see where it happened. Thelron gave a speech. He talked about courage, about sacrifice, about the day everything changed. Then he called Jiwoo to the stage. She didn't want to go. Didn't want the attention. But Minho and Taeyang pushed her forward. The crowd of thousands watched as she climbed the steps. Corporal Han, Thelron said formally, the Galactic Council has voted to award you the Star of Valor, the highest honor we can give. You stood when we fell. You fought when we ran. You saved us all. He placed a medal around her neck. Heavy metal engraved with symbols from every major civilization. The crowd erupted in applause. Not just humans. Every species. Clapping, cheering, making whatever sounds indicated approval in their cultures. Jiwoo looked out at them. Thousands of beings from across the galaxy. All here because a few humans had been too stubborn to run. I'm not good at speeches, she said into the microphone. But I want to say something about Hana Lim, and Jisoo Kim, and everyone else who died here. The crowd went quiet. They were afraid. We all were. That thing made gods run. It should have made us run too. But fear isn't a command. It's information. It tells you there's danger. What you do with that information is up to you. She touched the medal around her neck. We chose to stand, not because we're fearless. Because we decided that some things are worth being afraid for, worth fighting for, worth dying for. She looked at the statue of Hana. They stood. We all stood. And that thing learned something it should have learned a long time ago, she paused. The crowd leaned forward, waiting. When you roar at a human, we take it personally. The applause was deafening. After the ceremony, Jiwoo found Taeyang and Minho at a bar in the lower decks. It was one of the first businesses to reopen. The owner, a Corvan named Gresh, had given them free drinks for life. To Hana, Minho said, raising his glass. To Hana, they echoed. And to Jisoo, Taeyang added. They drank in silence for a moment. The council offered me a position, Minho said. Security coordinator for the new station. Better pay, better benefits. I'd be your boss, Jiwoo. Don't let it go to your head, she said. What about you two? Minho asked. Any plans? Taeyang shrugged. I'm staying. They need engineers to finish the station. Besides, where else am I going to go? I helped blow up the last one. Might as well help build this one. Jiwoo? Minho pressed. She thought about it. The council had offered her positions too. Training coordinator, tactical advisor, a dozen fancy titles with good salaries. But she liked her job. Liked walking the lower decks, keeping the peace. Being unremarkable. I'm staying too, she said. Same job as before. Security patrol. They want to make you a hero, Minho said. I don't want to be a hero. I want to do my job, they understood. Heroes were for statues and ceremonies. The real work happened in the corridors and docking bays. Someone had to do that work. 6 months later, Terminus Deep was fully operational. Jiwoo walked her regular patrol route. Lower decks, past Kale's salvage shop, which was bigger now, past bars and trading posts and all the chaos that made a space station feel alive. She stopped at the memorial park. Did it every day, stood in front of Hana's statue and remembered. The galaxy's changed, Kyle said, appearing beside her. He did that sometimes. Joined her during the memorial visits, how so? The Devourer wasn't the only one. The old stories talk about others. Things sleeping in the dark. They're waking up. He looked at her. People are scared, they should be. Those things are dangerous. But they're also calling for humans, hiring human security. Human soldiers. Human advisors. They want you there when the monsters come back. Why? Because you stood once. They think you'll stand again. Jiwoo thought about that. About humans spreading across the galaxy. Standing guard. Fighting things that shouldn't exist. It was a strange destiny for a species that had only reached the stars a few generations ago. Will you? Kale asked. Stand again? She looked at Hana's statue. Remembered the pilot's last words. Tell them a human did this. Yeah, Jiwoo said. We will. That night, alarms woke the station. Jiwoo bolted from her quarters and ran to the command center. Thelron was already there, looking at the displays. What is it? She asked. Another one, he said quietly. smaller than the Devourer, but still massive. It's approaching the Kelvar system. 3 billion people live there. How long until it arrives? 12 hours. Jiwoo looked at the tactical display. The Kelvar system had defenses, but nothing that could stop something like this. They'd need help. Call the evacuation fleet, she said. Everyone who fought at Terminus Deep. Tell them we're going again. Jiwoo, Thelron said carefully. You don't have to do this. You've done enough. She smiled, cracked her neck. Left side, then right. Commander, when has enough ever stopped a human? Within 2 hours, ships began arriving at Terminus Deep. The veterans of the first battle. Ships from a dozen species, all crewed by people who'd learned that you could stand and survive. And among them, scattered throughout the fleet, were human ships. Security contractors, engineers, pilots, all answering the call, because that's what humans did. Jiwoo stood in the command center, watching the fleet assemble. Minhyo coordinated security. Taeyang checked ship systems. Kale's salvage ship took a position in the formation, its weapons upgraded since the last battle. Fleet is ready, Thelron announced. All ships report prepared for combat. Jiwoo activated the fleet-wide channel. Thousands of beings listening across dozens of ships. 3 billion people need our help, she said. There's a monster coming for them. It thinks it can kill whoever it wants. Eat whatever it wants. Destroy whatever it wants, she paused. Let's teach it what monsters should really fear. The fleet jumped to hyperspace, racing toward another battle. Another monster. But this time the galaxy knew the truth. When the monsters roared, humans cracked their necks and stepped forward. And the monsters learned to be afraid. On Terminus Deep in the Memorial Park, Hana's statue stood watch. The inscription at its base read, "Here stood humanity. Here they fought. Here they won. Remember their courage, honor their sacrifice, and when the darkness comes again, stand as they stood." New names would be added to that memorial. New heroes would fall. New battles would be fought. But humanity would stand. They always did. Because fear was just information. And humans had learned long ago that some things were worth being afraid for. The new Terminus Deep grew quiet as the fleet departed. Citizens returned to their homes. Businesses closed for the night. The station settled into its routine. In the park, under artificial stars, Hana's statue stood silent vigil, waiting for the next time. The next monster. The next moment when someone would need to stand. And somewhere in the dark between stars, ancient things stirred, waking from long sleep. Hungry. They reached out with their senses, searching for prey. And they felt it. A new presence in the galaxy, small, stubborn, dangerous. They felt humans, standing, watching, waiting. The ancient things paused. They remembered the Devourer, remembered its death, remembered the small beings who'd refused to run. For the first time in millions of years, the ancient things felt something new. They felt fear, and across the galaxy, on stations and ships and worlds, humans cracked their necks and got back to work. The monsters could come. They always did. Humans would be ready. They always were. Because that's what humans did best. They stood their ground, stared down gods and monsters, and said the one thing that made the darkness hesitate. Not today.